I was evicted for being who I am. That's what Drew told me the night he showed up at my door, shivering, eyes red from holding back tears. I hadn't seen him in 6 years, not since high school, not since the day I kissed him and he walked away without a word. Now he was back, homeless, humiliated, and I was the only person he could call. I should have closed the door. Instead, I opened my life again. I hadn't seen Drew Ellis since the night he kissed me behind the gym and told me I was a mistake. That was senior year. 10 minutes of silence and one sentence that hollowed me out for months. I moved away, built a new life, changed cities, changed names in my phone, thought I was done bleeding. Then 2 nights ago, he showed up at my door, shivering, wet from rain, eyes like someone who hadn't slept in days. "Can I come in?" I almost said no. Every cell in my body wanted to say no, but I opened the door anyway. Stupid reflex, muscle memory disguised as mercy. Now he's asleep on my couch, and I'm standing in the hallway at 3 a.m. trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. Earlier that night, he hadn't even knocked right. 3 half-hearted taps, like he wasn't sure if he wanted to be heard. When I opened it, he looked at me like he didn't expect me to answer. "What are you doing here?" I asked, voice flat. He swallowed. "My parents kicked me out." I raised an eyebrow. "For what? Losing your halo?" His smile was tight, bitter. "For being honest. Just 20 years too late." I didn't laugh, didn't ask what took him so long. I just stepped aside. Now he's here, in my apartment, in my life again. And I don't know if I want to punch the wall or wrap him in every blanket I own. The next morning, I find him in the kitchen, staring at a coffee mug like it might explain quantum physics. "You still take it black?" he asks. "You remember that?" I ask. "Hard to forget things you used to memorize." I look away. That line is dangerous. Memory is a loaded gun when it comes from him. We eat cereal in silence. 2 men pretending the past isn't screaming in every spoonful. Finally, I say it. "You humiliated me, Drew. I kissed you because I trusted you, and you turned me into a joke." His jaw tightens. "I know." "No, you don't. You ran to your friends and told them it was me who pushed it. Said I was obsessed, that I made it up." He nods slowly, doesn't deny it. "Because I was scared." "You were a coward." "I still am." That lands harder than I expect. He puts the spoon down, hands trembling just enough to notice. "They asked me to leave the house 3 days ago," he says. "Found messages on my phone. I didn't even fight it. I just left. And I'm your what? Backup plan?" He meets my eyes. "You're the only person I thought might still see me as human." Silence sits between us like a verdict. I should tell him to go. He has nothing to offer but old wounds and empty apologies. But the truth is, the look in his eyes doesn't match the boy who destroyed me. It's not guilt. It's something worse. It's regret. By evening, we talk more. Tentative, clumsy words like kids learning to walk. He tells me about working dead-end jobs, couch surfing, how every time he thought about coming out, he remembered the look in my face that night behind the gym. I told myself if I ever got to try again, I'd try with someone who already knew the worst parts of me. "And figured I'd be dumb enough to let you?" I ask. He doesn't flinch. "I was hoping you'd be kind enough." That stings more. Drew had always been the golden boy, captain of everything, joked with teachers, flirted with girls, and I was the quiet one with good grades and no clue what to do with how I felt. He kissed me when no one was looking, and erased me when they were. Now he's back, and I don't know who I hate more, him or myself for still feeling something when he speaks. That night I can't sleep. Again. He's in the next room, snoring lightly on my couch, and I'm staring at the ceiling, remembering every second of the night that broke me. The softness of his lips, the way his hands shook, the way he pulled back like I'd burned him. "You can't tell anyone," he said back then. It didn't mean anything, but it did. It meant everything. To me. Now he's back, and everything I buried is clawing its way out of the dark. I think about waking him, telling him to leave, telling him to stay, telling him to finish the sentence he started 6 years ago. Instead, I stay still. Because some silences are safer than answers, and maybe I'm still the same fool who opened the door when I shouldn't have. Drew stayed longer than I planned to let him. A few days became a week. I didn't tell anyone. It felt like I was keeping a secret that already knew how to hurt me. We settled into a routine that wasn't routine at all. He cooked. I didn't ask him to. He folded my laundry. I didn't thank him. Every kindness felt like a trap, like he was buying space he hadn't earned. One night after work, I came home soaked in rain. Drew opened the door before I knocked, like he'd been waiting. "You forgot your umbrella again," he said. "Still not psychic?" I replied. He smirked, but it didn't last. His eyes lingered a little too long. I walked past him, pretending not to notice the silence that followed. We ate dinner like strangers, pretending to be roommates. He talked about a job interview. I nodded at the right times. Neither of us mentioned the storm outside or the one still sitting between us. Then he asked, "Do you hate me?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just kept chewing. "Because if you do," he continued, "I'd understand. I think I hate me too." I stood up to clear the plates. His hand caught my wrist, gentle but firm. "I'm trying," he said. "Trying doesn't erase what you did." "I know." I pulled away. But that night, he didn't sleep on the couch. I found him on the fire escape, knees pulled to his chest, rain soaking through his shirt. "You'll get sick," I said. "Already am," he replied without looking up. I sat beside him, stupidly. Let the rain hit my back, too. We didn't speak. Didn't need to. Sometimes pain doesn't need words. It recognizes itself in the quiet. When we went back inside, he dried off, changed shirts, and stood in the doorway to my room. "I think about that kiss every day," he said. "The first one?" My heart clenched, stupid and soft. "I don't," I lied. He smiled without humor. "I deserved that." Then he stepped forward slowly, like waiting for me to stop him. I didn't. He kissed me. It wasn't careful. It wasn't a question. It was all the years between us, crashing into the same mistake. When he pulled back, he looked like someone who'd just broken something valuable. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "That shouldn't have happened." I stared at him. "Then why did you do it?" "Because I still feel it." "Feel what?" "You!" My voice cracked. "Then don't call it a mistake." He backed away like I'd struck him. I don't know how to be this out loud." I swallowed hard. "Then don't kiss people who live in the real world." He slept on the floor that night, blanket barely covering him, and I lay awake, burning. In the morning he was gone. Not forever, just not here. No note, no text, just silence. The kind that tells you you should have known better. Around noon I got a message. Needed air. Didn't mean to mess things up. Don't wait for me. I didn't reply. That evening I saw him by accident, across the street near the pharmacy, laughing with a girl I didn't recognize. The way he smiled, carefree, unburdened, made me want to vomit. I went home, turned my phone off, and sat on the floor until it was dark. Then I opened my journal, wrote 3 words and underlined them twice. He did it again. Days passed. He didn't come back. I told myself I was fine, that I should be relieved. That closure sometimes comes wearing silence. But that wasn't true. What I felt wasn't closure. It was abandonment with a familiar name. Then on Friday there was a knock. I opened the door without thinking. Drew stood there, wet again. Of course it was raining. It always rains when he leaves, and when he returns. He looked like hell. Not dramatic, not broken, just tired in the kind of way people get when they've been pretending too long. "I'm not good at this," he said. "No kidding. But I can't stop thinking about you, not just what we were, but who we are now." I crossed my arms. "And what's that?" He stepped closer. 2 people who were still scared, but maybe tired of running. He didn't reach for me. He didn't beg. He just stood there, letting the weight of the moment settle. "I don't need you to forgive me," he said. "I just need you to know I see it now. What I did, who I was, and who I'm trying to be." It wasn't an apology, it was a risk. I didn't know if I believed him, but I also didn't close the door. He stayed that night, but I didn't ask him to. We didn't talk much. I made coffee. He drank it. We avoided the kiss like it hadn't happened, like it hadn't cracked something open that wouldn't close. For a few days we coexisted, quiet, tense, like a bomb neither of us wanted to disarm. But one evening, I found him standing at the mirror, gripping the edge of the sink like he was holding himself together. "They told me I could come back home," he said, voice low, "if I agreed to go to church every week, meet with someone, you know, fix it." I said nothing. They think I'm confused, that I'm just lost. I met his eyes in the mirror. "Are you?" He didn't answer. Not really, just whispered, "Sometimes I wish I was." That night we argued. I don't even remember how it started. Maybe over dishes, maybe over silence, maybe over everything we weren't saying. "You don't get to be here and hide at the same time," I snapped. "This isn't a closet with a guest pass." He flinched. "You think I'm not trying?" "I think you want me to carry the guilt so you don't have to look at it." He turned away. "That's not fair. Neither was high school. Neither was you kissing me and turning it into shame." His voice cracked. "I was 17. "So was I said. "But I didn't get to be forgiven for it." He opened his mouth, closed it, then just said, "I didn't come here to be dragged through the past." "Then don't act like you're owed a future." He left, again. Didn't even slam the door. Just disappeared into the night like he was never here. And this time I let myself cry. Not out of heartbreak, but out of exhaustion. Grief with a long memory. The next morning I got a call. From his brother. I didn't even know he had my number. "Hey, it's Tyler," he said. "Drew's little brother. He okay?" I paused. "I haven't seen him since last night." Silence on the line. "Mom said he didn't come home. I thought maybe—" He didn't finish. I found Drew at the park 2 hours later, sitting on a bench, hood pulled up, headphones in, but no music. He looked like he hadn't slept, or maybe sleep had given up on him. I sat beside him, said nothing. He didn't look at me. Then out of nowhere, "I hate that you're right." I waited. "I hate that you make me feel like I could actually be something. And then I remember the way I've lived my whole life, and it doesn't add up. I never asked you to change overnight." He looked at me finally. "But you want me to change." "No," I said. "I want you to stop lying to yourself and calling it survival." He bit his lip, then said quietly, "What if I don't know who I am without the shame?" I felt the air shift between us. "Then maybe it's time you found out." We walked home in silence, not the kind that punishes, the kind that listens. When we got to my apartment, he stood in the doorway, eyes scanning the space like it meant something now. "Can I stay?" he asked. I didn't answer right away, then said, "Only if you mean it this time." "I do. You always say that before you leave." He nodded. "This time's different," he said. "You said that last time too." "I know." He moved back in, this time with a bag. No more crashing on the couch. No more just a few nights. No more pretending it wasn't real. He called out sick the next day, stayed home, sat across from me at the kitchen table. "I told my mom," he said. I looked up. He nodded. "Told her I'm not confused. Told her I'm tired of hiding." "What did she say?" "She cried." "Out of disappointment?" "No," he said. "Out of fear." "For what?" "That I'd lose everyone." I looked at him for a long time. "You didn't lose me," I said. He smiled. "Even after everything?" "No," I said. "But this is the last time you walk back in and expect everything to be waiting." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll stop walking out." That night, he didn't sleep on the couch, but not in my bed either. He lay on the floor next to it, like he wanted to be close to something without breaking it. I asked, "What are you doing?" He shrugged. "Just trying not to rush this." It was the first time he didn't try to fix it with a kiss. And somehow that meant more than all the apologies combined. Drew started leaving his phone face up. That's how I knew something had shifted. No more flinching when it buzzed. No more disappearing into the bathroom to answer calls. No more half-truths. Still, he never touched me in public. We'd walk side by side, elbows almost brushing, but never crossing the line. One afternoon at a small grocery store, a guy from high school spotted us. "Drew Ellis? Man, you're still alive?" He laughed, then looked at me, then back at Drew. "You two roommates?" Drew froze, his hand clenched around the basket handle. I waited. He nodded. "Yeah, roommates." That one word hit harder than a slap. The guy left. The silence didn't. Outside, I said nothing. Neither did he. But back at the apartment, I didn't let it go. You said it without blinking. I panicked. You've had a decade to practice. I didn't know what to say. You knew exactly what to say, and you said it. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I'm not ashamed of you. But you're still ashamed of us. He didn't deny it, and maybe that hurt most. The next morning he tried to make it right. Said he'd come with me to the open mic night I'd mentioned weeks ago. I read sometimes, short pieces, stories that feel too sharp to post online. That night I almost canceled, but he insisted. I want to hear you read. Why? So you can sit in the back and pretend we don't live together? He swallowed. So I can prove I'm not running. I didn't believe him, but I let him come. I didn't expect to see his parents there, but they were. Far corner, neutral expressions, his mother clutching her purse like it held answers. He saw them too. Froze in the doorway, turned pale. I leaned in. You don't have to stay, but he nodded. I do. I read a piece about the first boy I ever loved. I didn't say his name, but everyone could feel the weight in the words, the hurt that had never quite scabbed over. When I looked up, Drew's eyes were locked on mine, and I knew. He knew it was about him. He didn't look away. When I finished, the applause was soft, honest. His parents didn't clap. They stood up and left. Drew didn't follow them. Not that night. Back home, I expected him to fall apart. Instead, he said, they knew. What? They've known since I was 15. They just thought ignoring it would make it go away. And now? They're hoping I'll grow out of it. Still, at 25. I looked at him. You okay? No, he admitted, but I'm done lying for their comfort. A few days later, his mom texted. Said she wanted to meet. He didn't reply. She texted again. We love you. We just need time. He handed me the phone. What do I say? I stared at the message. Depends what you want. I want them to love me without conditions. Then don't reply until they do. He didn't. Things got better between us after that. Not perfect, but real. He reached for my hand once outside a bookstore. No one was around, but it was the first time he'd done it. I'm tired of acting like this is something I need to apologize for, he said. It never was. Then came the party. A coworker of his invited us both. Casual, drinks, games, nothing serious. We went. People asked questions. You two together? Drew looked at me, then nodded. Yeah. It should have felt like a win, but one of the guys from his job overheard, and the next morning, Drew got pulled aside by his supervisor. Off the record, he said, some guys are uncomfortable. Drew clenched his jaw. With what? Me being gay or me existing? The supervisor didn't answer. Just said, don't bring personal life into the workspace. That's all we're saying. Drew came home furious. I kept my head down for years. Now I say one sentence and I'm a distraction. I didn't try to fix it. Some things aren't meant to be softened. Later, he sat beside me on the floor. I used to think I could live a quiet life, keep things separate, avoid conflict, be safe. I waited, but safe just means alone. That night, he held my hand again, in public, on a walk. No one stared, no one screamed. The world kept spinning, but I could feel the way his shoulders dropped, like he'd finally stopped bracing for the punch that never came. You okay? I asked. He nodded. This feels right. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it feels right. I didn't say anything back. I just squeezed his hand and kept walking. Because some truths don't need repeating. It didn't end with some grand announcement. There was no viral post, no dramatic confrontation, no rainbow flag moment under perfect lighting. But the shift was real, Drew told his coworkers. Not all at once, not with speeches, just facts, short, steady sentences. Some didn't react. Some backed off. A few stayed close. One guy changed tables at lunch. Another started asking questions he hadn't asked before. Not out of curiosity, but decency. Does your boyfriend cook? Barely, Drew would say. He burns toast and still blames the toaster. And just like that, the world didn't fall apart. He called his dad next. The conversation was quiet, stretched over long pauses and breathing. I don't get it, his dad said, but I don't want to lose you over it. That was all. Not support, but not rejection either. Sometimes neutrality is a starting point. After he hung up, Drew didn't say much, just sat beside me and let the silence do what words couldn't. We started showing up together more. Bookstores, parks, random weekend things. Once we bumped into a girl from my grad program. She smiled. "You two look good together." Drew stiffened like reflex, then glanced at me. "Thanks," he said. "He makes life quieter, in a good way." Later I asked if he meant that. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. One night we had a fight. Not over anything big, just the usual cracks that come with being close for too long without checking the foundation. I accused him of pulling away. He said I wasn't letting him grow without dragging him toward what I wanted. Voices raised, doors closed, but no one left. And that was the difference. We used to fall apart and walk away. Now we stayed, sat in different rooms, breathed separately for a while, then returned, slower, softer. "Sorry," he said. "Same." That was all. It was enough. Weeks passed. The hard things stayed hard. Family didn't magically heal. Not everyone at work smiled. Not every conversation ended well. But we kept showing up. That was the win. One night I asked him, "If you could go back to the version of yourself that kissed me in high school, what would you tell him?" He thought for a long time, then said, "Stop apologizing for things you haven't done wrong yet." I nodded. "And you?" he asked. "I'd tell myself not to wait for someone to choose me." He reached for my hand then, not out of habit, not to prove anything, just to hold it. The next morning his mom called, said she wanted to meet both of us, said she'd been thinking, said she missed her son more than she feared judgment. We met for coffee a few days later. It wasn't perfect. She stumbled over words, looked down a lot, but she listened. She asked questions. She didn't ask when it would change. When we left, she hugged him, and then hugged me. Afterward, Drew sat in the car for a while before starting the engine. That was the first time she touched me in years without expecting me to flinch. I rested my hand on his knee. "I think she's trying." "Yeah," he said. "So am I." The last time we talked about labels, it didn't go anywhere. He said he didn't feel the need to define things anymore. Said the word gay still felt like something he hadn't fully tried on. I said that was okay, as long as he didn't take me off like something temporary. He promised he wouldn't. There's no title for what we are, not exactly. We cook badly. We fight sometimes. He leaves socks everywhere. I rewrite stories 12 times, but he still reaches for my hand when no one's watching, and sometimes even when they are. That's what matters. The first time he introduced me to someone as his partner, I felt it, like something locked into place. Not a destination, but a direction. If you ask me now, was it worth it? The waiting, the hurt, the versions of him that didn't know how to stay? I'd say yes, because he's here now, and he's not leaving. Love didn't arrive loudly, it came quiet, but this time, it didn't hide.